And good morning, everyone. Thank you for joining me for CyberCast IRL. Today is Friday, as it normally is when we do this, but today is March the 7th. We are into March. We are moving through 2025 like it's got no business, super fast. Here comes the Simply Cyber community jumping in the chat just in time. There's White Hat Sheepdog. I already see Jerry Ozier out the gate. My boy, Jerry. Jerry, just thank you while I've got you here, man. A big, always huge thanks for always like saying my name, pumping the show, and being just a cool friend. I really appreciate that. I enjoy. And there's Fleetus. Fleetus is awesome. I don't know that I could get through all the people that are in the chat room today. I see Luke Canfield. Of course, we got Wayne's Real World. Special guest star today in the chat. The only Mr. Wes Bryan. Glad to have him today as well. Who else do we got going on? Justin Gold has showed up. Oh, man. Yes. Carrie Chasen, always a fan of the show. Alpha Sierra. Who else do we got here? Tech Ricky, of course. We've been chatting. Everybody's been chatting. We get here about, 15 or so minutes before the thing gets started. I got to set up everything, make sure the stream is going. And if I'm live at 5, please let me know, because sometimes I think I'm live and things could be going wrong. FedEx is here. He says Eric Taylor Swift. Is Eric in the house? Did he show up today? We were talking over at Simply Cyber. Jerry was showing an article about Taylor Swift ticket hack thing that was going on for like $600,000, and it just popped in my head. I was like, Eric Taylor Swift. We need a meme of Eric Taylor Swift. And then, of course, the haircut fish. Dan already jumped on it. From what I understand, it is a real thing. It exists in reality at this point in time. So I don't know where we can get our hands on that. But Jerry says it's going to be next Thursday meme of the week. Do not miss next Thursday at Simply Cyber's morning brief, the daily brief. That is going to be a good time right there. Very funny. Thank you all for coming, though. I was looking at last week's. I was like, we could spend a lot of time, and we did spend a lot of time saying hello to everyone. There's so many cool people here that show up every single week that it cuts into our time about talking about things for me to personally greet everyone. But if I don't say your name, don't think that I don't appreciate you're here. I surely do. That said, Divine Dream Divine says, so lively color. I do like a good color scheme, right? I think I wear red well for some strange reason, and then the blue and the green really kind of sets everything off. I feel like I got like a Joker theme, even though I know it's kind of blue, but it's really like a purplish, like a very bluish purple, a blurple, as it were. And with the green, we kind of got this this Joker theme going on. And me and my Red Siege red, it's just like one of my favorite shirts to wear. It fits so well. It's a fun logo with the Red Siege logo and everything. Very fun. Shout out to my good friends, Tim Medine, Mike Saunders, Jason Downey, Jay Con, Molly, everybody over at Red Siege, man. You guys are awesome. So much fun. I always really enjoy hanging out with you guys, and you do a lot of great stuff. So if you're not familiar with Red Siege, you know what you should do? You should check out their Wednesday Offensive. You have to register for it. It's not recorded. So if you want to be a part of the fun, you got to register for that Zoom and then go hang out. I think it's on Wednesdays at 1:30 Eastern. So a lot of fun. Definitely check that out. What has Sheepdog says, I love the nightclub vibes going on in the background. It's like boots and hats and boots and hats and boots and hats, right? I am Eurotrash. And of course, I have a meme myself where I am a Russian APT. Thank you again, Haircut Fish, for that. Oh, man, we do have too much fun. Cheddar Bob says, Mike Saunders is a large man. You know, I don't look up to too many people, but Mike Saunders is one of them. And so is Tim Medine. Tim Medine is a big old youngin'. That boy, it's like they got something in the water over at Red Siege, that's for sure. The Stinger says, yes, Wednesday Offensive is a no miss. That is for sure. And speaking of no miss, there is Hayden Covington has got a thing going on with Black Hills Anti-Siphon today. at 11. So like right after this. So I understand if some people are already registered for that and you want to bounce on that super early. There's Eric Taylor Swift. Yo, 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 bro. You know, I'm not casting any shade on you at that. It was just a funny thing that popped in my head. I have a real hard time of stopping those things before they get out into the world. And it's going to be hysterical. Just enjoy the funniness of it. That's all you got to do. So, all right. Cheddar Bob says, I found in the Wild West Hacking Fest, Tim lives down the road from us. That's so cool. That's super cool. He is a super good guy. Thank you, Carrie. You reminded me. We got to start the day off right. We're already 5 minutes in. We haven't done the right thing yet. You know what time it is. You know what time it is. What color is it going to be today? Carrie says red. Right? Close. Right? It's not bad. There we go. It's close. This one is Ultra Sunrise. It is orange. But it's very sunny today, and I thought this is apropos. A little sunny today. Are we ready for the morning pour, everybody? Let's make it happen. Get that ASMR. Ooh, not a beer. And begin. Oh yeah, it's frothing. Oh, there we go. Oh no, I gotta control it. Oh, slow it down. Can we make it to the top? All of it. There it is. Sometimes the ice gets stuck at the bottom, so I give it a little tap and then they float to the top. That was a good one. There we go. Oh, yeah. Oh, it tastes like summer, right? It tastes a lot like an Orange Crush or like Sunkissed or something. It's very similar to that. Somebody told me, who was it this morning that told me they were throwing away a bunch of Monster cans? And I don't know why, but it came to my head. I thought, every Monster can, this one represents a fond memory of hanging out with you folks and tasty goodness, right? So every Monster can I have in my trash over here represents fun times we had doing this and having a good one. All right, that said, thank you. I know you love the sound effects. This is kind of like an AMA thing. It's a conversational style. We talk about anything we want, and well, except like Jerry was saying this morning, it's not a political show, so I don't want to get into political stuff. I don't want to get religious. This is a cybersecurity thing, so let's talk about cybersecurity stuff. But anything about that is on the table. We will focus on the cyber aspect of it. So, and how it affects us as professionals or hope to be soon to be professionals and that kind of stuff. Alpha Sierra says there's a new Monster flavor, Hawaiian something, blue can. I have not, but I will go get one probably today. And maybe that'll, if I can find it, that will be for next week. I'll try to find a new one for next week. Yeah. So there's that. And coming up with thinking about that, if you have something you want to say directly to me, you want to make sure that I see it, make sure you @ Daniel Lowry. It shows up in red. I'll show you what that looks like. Here, let me get that out of the way. We'll grab this, pull it over here. I'll show you what it looks like, just so you can see. Right? Like FedEx here says, @ Daniel Lowry, you need a new camera angle for ASMR. Those cameras aren't cheap, so no. But I get that. I get where you're going with that. Yeah, it's a good idea. I don't. What about John D. Rockefeller over here? I got money. Eric Taylor says, but cyber and politics play into each other so much. They do in a lot of ways, but it can get a little too spicy. It can get a little too, I'm not into, I don't want to divide my audience. I want to we need to come together. This is one place where we get to come together over our commonality, which is cybersecurity. So if you want to talk to me directly, make sure you @ my name. And that way I can see it really easily in the chat. Go back to this. And that it'll kind of pop out and I can get your question, your comment, or whatever the case is. If I do miss it, don't fret. Wayne's Real World is in the chat. He's batting clean up for us. He's trying to pay attention. So if I miss something, he will try to bring that to my attention. Gary Jason says, the Minty Lintics. That's right, the Minty Lintics. Linux. That's a tongue twister. Minty Linux. Minty Linux. Minty Linux. Fun to say. Okay. So let's get into. No, I have not had the coffee monsters because I don't like coffee. Luke J says correction commonality over monster. That is true. There are two things. We'll correct it. There are two things that we come together over: the excellent taste of monsters' deliciousness and cybersecurity. It binds us. It is the thing that coheses us together. Now, let's get into some cyber stuff. I actually want to do some reaching out to you today. Got some questions for you guys. I need to get some data, however you want to say it, right? Seem, waza or waza, like Linux or Linux, Ubuntu or Ubuntu. I love to grab those things. Talk about starting religious wars, right? That can definitely make people polarized on which side of the fence they land on those things. But I got some questions for you guys. And it's all about because I need to keep my finger on the pulse of what you out there are looking for and what you want to know, what you want to see, and what you're interested in. Because I do my best to stay on top of everything that's going on. But as you can imagine, I am but one man, imperfect, feet of clay, right? And so I miss things, and maybe I'm just not, you know what I mean? Like everybody's experience is kind of different. So I want to get from your perspectives. I actually wrote down a couple of questions right before we started because it hit me right before we started. Let's talk about cyber learning platforms, right? Because I work for Anti-Siphon. They make training. We have training there. I've worked for other training companies. I've made my own training. I make training. I stick stuff in YouTube from time to time that is training oriented. And of course, they have topics and concepts that are a part of the cyber world. But am I on the right pulse? Like, so my question is like, let's start with cyber platforms. What's your favorite? What's your favorite learning platform? And again, this is a safe space. You can say any cyber platform you like. If you're like, well, you know what? I really like blank, and I don't care that Daniel, you work for Anti-Siphon. Anti-Siphon is not my favorite. So that's cool. That's totally fine. We always like to say, I can't make it better if I don't know what's wrong. Blind spots, right? They're up here. I don't see them. You see them. You know what they are, and so I want to get from your perspective what that is. So what's your favorite platform to go and learn something? And do you like, I see somebody said YouTube and AI, that's Carrie. And that's legit, right? That's a really good way to learn. I do that myself as well. Pros and cons to everything though, right? Like, do you like the more systematized approach to, I need to learn, like maybe I'm going to study for a certification. That could be a little more difficult to go onto YouTube for AI because there's no systematized approach. Maybe some good YouTubers out there have thrown in. That's legit. And if so, point them out in the chat. Let people know that resource is there and that you really like it so that they can go check it out as well. But like, do you like try hack me? Are you security blue team kind of person? I'm like, what do you find to be the most bang for your buck on what you're wanting to do in general and specifically? So you can go crazy. I'm going to jump in the chat and see what we got going on here and see if I missed anything. You think about that and then throw that in the chat. Let's see here. Eric Taylor says, I've not been canceled yet. That's good to know. Carrie says, we can't fret because all of Daniel's guitars. I've got this one. Let me grab this. This is my pride and joy right here. I'll let you guys take a close-up look at that. Look at that. Isn't that gorgeous? Isn't that gorge? Just the most beautiful carved top, man. Just that is worth the effort right there. This is the most expensive guitar I own, and it was worth every penny. And as you can see, I actually play it and beat it up. I don't care. Doesn't matter. It's meant to be played. It's not art to just hang on the wall. Not in my estimation, anyway. But yeah, let's see. Anything else? That was that. We have you seen the takedowns on the Russian crypto exchanges used by TAs? I have not. You know, that's cool. Glad that Russian crypto threat actors got taken down. That's a plus. But I did not see that lately. The crypto doesn't really excite me. Like, I get it, and I'm not like not a fan. It's just, you know what I mean. It's never grabbed me, so I see crypto stuff, and unless it's weird or huge. Obviously, I haven't read the news this morning, so I'll have to take a look at that. Let's see here. We got BHIS is the best ever. AI. We got Try Hack Me. Enjoying CISA Plus path on Let's Defend. White Hat Sheepdog asks, what's my take on upcoming new Apple products that are releasing next week on the choice? So MacBook Air, iPad Pro, etc. Are they getting any better, in my opinion? So my opinion on Apple products are basically, it kind of comes down to this. Their hardware is par excellence. They are the tip of the spear. They're at least as good as any other thing, if not better, as far as the hardware goes. I do not like Mac OS. I do not like iPad OS. I do not like iOS. Any of that. They're OSs to me. I'd rather shove bamboo shoots underneath my fingernails and stick a bag of rats on my head than use any Apple software. It just sucks to me. I cannot stand it. It's so unintuitive for me. You may love it. I know old people and young people tend to really love, and hipsters. Certain demographics are huge fans of Apple. For what I do, it has one specific purpose that I like it for, which is it's really good at displaying on this. And we can talk about making content here in just a minute if you like, and what kind of goes on into that. But yeah, as far as like whether or not they're getting better, I'm sure that their hardware is just getting better all the time. They do a really good job on that. So they are really pricey though, right? Gonna cost you some money. And I think most people don't need that. I think that most people just need a regular laptop. Most of the stuff we do nowadays is all in a browser. And are you using Safari? I mean, come on, right? No, I'm not. So there's that. All right, going back to what are people using? We got THM, Try Hack Me, Ride or Die for Haircut Fish. It's a great platform. Let's see here. Same from Tech Ricky. So we got Anti-Siphon Meta CTF KC7. I'm not familiar with that one. To check that out. Write that down. KC7. Let's see here. What else do we got here? We got White Hat Sheepdog asks, I like a combo. I like a comb of thing. I guess you meant combo of things such as YouTube, Udemy, Try Hack Me, Let's Defend, Code Red on EC Council has some gems. I'm glad to hear that they're up in their game. Got hackthebox, Pluralsight, AS. I guess that's Anti-Siphon. That's us. Yay, we're there. Some TCM. Anything from Simply Cyber is gold. That's from Ross. I'm going towards culinary arts now. So using YouTube. That is great. Very cool. Let's see here. Oh, now we're talking about my guitar. Yeah. It is very lovely. It is very lovely, isn't it? Eric says it's not really a crypto story, but ways to impede threat actors from getting paid for that. Oh, good to know. Very cool. No, I'll have to check that out, Eric. Thanks for throwing that out there. That's some good info. Wes Brian saying, hey, y'all. What else do we got? Anybody else? Linux Academy, Ad Dev, Test Out. A lot of those have drastically changed. Ross says he misses the old Linux Academy. Right. That is unfortunate that happens. So as someone who makes training, right? and has made training for 10 years. For the most part, I have always been told that, and Wes, he's in the chat as well. He can tell you he's done the same thing. And he's been a trainer. I did in-classroom training a long time ago. I don't really like doing that, but Wes did it, and he was number one in, like, he worked for a New Horizons, and he was number one in the New Horizons network, the number one trainer. He walked the stage and got a thing. He is a great trainer. And, we worked together for a long time making training, and we always are trying to refine that process and make the best training we can for you. We want you to come away from your training going, that was fun, that was engaging, and I learned a bunch of cool stuff. I learned the stuff that I need to learn. It's so important to me that you're not just able to pass an exam, right? That you're not just like, well, I got all the little bits that I need to go, and I've covered all the exam objectives, but that you actually know what that stuff is and why it works, and you understand it to break Bloom's taxonomy laws. Screw you, Bloom, and your stupid taxonomy laws. Can't stand them. I can use the word understand. It has meaning. I don't care if you don't like it. Let's see here. That's why I asked this question. That's why I'm asking this. So I want to see what you guys are thinking about, what you like the most. So that takes me to the next question. Why do you like them, right? Why do you think TryHackMe is the best? Why do you think whatever you like the best is the best? What about that platform really resonates with you, right? So throw that in the chat. And I get to reread all this stuff. I don't have to try to get it all right now. I get to go back. This is all being recorded for posterity, and everybody can look down in the chat who's watching the recorded version of this and read through the chat and get all those little tidbits of information. Again, I want this this is us, not just me. This is us doing stuff. So I think that's a great question. Why, right? So what made me think of this, honestly, was I was like, you know what I've never done? I've never done the Hack the Box Academy. So let me go get in there and start that and just see what that kind of looks like. And I had some thoughts and opinion about it. Overall, it's really good. Especially the learning part. So the learning part is just web pages with content in them. You know what I mean? And that's cool. It's just read through this and learn. And then maybe you can spin up their Pwn box or whatever, and you can try these. Or if you're running Linux, and because I'm doing the Linux one. I did their, intro to the Academy walkthrough, and I finished their Linux intro as well. And for me, for this guy, I A+ on the content, what they taught, and what they were giving you as far as like, well, this is good stuff to know if you're going to be in cybersecurity or just IT in general. And I thought that was great. The little exams they give you like these little questions at the bottom of some of the modules. That was like, I'm going to give that like a D, honestly. A lot of the questions were not in the information that they presented at all. Did I know how to find that information? Yes, I did. Is that a good thing? Yeah, but you need to set the expectation. Always under promise and over deliver to me. And to me, they didn't do that there. And I love Hack the Box. I have nothing but love for Hack the Box. But when I'm having trouble answering a question I know the answer to, and it's telling me that's not the answer, and I go to their forums and everybody's like, hey, this doesn't work. This doesn't work. And anytime anyone tries to clarify, yeah, it doesn't work, and here's why, they redact it. And it's like, it needs to have a little more leeway or something in that. I don't really like that you ask questions about content you didn't specifically, like, to me, that's not what you do. it got to be where I was like, well, if I just want to finish this module, I don't even have to read the content. I can just go scroll down to the bottom and try to figure out the answers, because the information to many of these questions are not in this content at all. So I didn't like that. I was not a fan. And I hope as I move through more modules that is not the case. I will say they are not the only ones. I've done try hack me stuff before, and it was the exact same kind of thing. We were like, son of a motherless dog, you know, I don't want to keep this family friendly, but I know this is the answer. What is the problem? And some of them, I just hacked my way past the answer. I was like, whatever. If you're not going to take, you know, the actual answer, I'll just hack my way through. I'd use like burp intruder and just just fire off every possible answer that could possibly be, and look for the right result and call it a day. Because it was keeping me from moving on. I can't get 100% right. And if you're goal orienting this thing, if you're gamifying, and now you got me stuck on a question I can't answer because now I got to read forums, and I'm wasting my time. Ultimately, that's how I felt about it. That it was a waste of my time to have to go look up what weird idiosyncrasy makes my answer wrong so that I could give you the right one. And then when you find what the right answer is, you typically go, oh, that is so stupid. Like, why is this not enough? Why did it have to be this? Why are you making it so specific to one thing? Oh, it wasn't capitalized. Whatever the case is, you know, there's like all these different ways in which it wasn't right. And it was very frustrating to me. So that was my pet peeve on that. Then I went and did a hack the box, and because I don't get a lot of time to play around with CTFs and stuff anymore. And I'm like, I'd better go knock the rust off of some of these skills. So I messed around with the CTF. I did get the user flag on one, and now I'm working my way to root access the root flag. But yeah. All right, let me get back in the chat. I have been ranting about the hack the box thing. I'm just kind of telling you what I think. So I want to get your ideas on this as well. So please jump in and tell us what's going on. All right, Carrie Chasen says, okay, well, I know I missed more. Let me back this trolley up. Okay, where am I at? Yeah, okay, that's where I was. And then here we are. Not really crypto story. Okay, there I was, Eric Taylor. And then we've got, that's what I think, money. Okay, so money seems to be probably one of the things you like or don't like, is how much does it cost? How much is that? I think that what I've seen as far as pricing goes, it's not crazy for the most part. Well, let me hold on. Yeah, let me back that up. I'm gonna walk that back. Let me just take a few steps for like hack the box, try hack me, you know, those monthly subscription type boxes. They're really not bad. You know what's a really good one is Pentester Lab. If you're really into, if you want to get into web app testing, great platform. And for the like, I really enjoyed that platform. I learned a lot from that in my early days. I should probably re-sign up for that. And again, knock some rust off of some skills. I spend so much time researching, creating content, being on live streams, going to all the content creator stuff, that it keeps me honestly from doing a lot of that I used to be able to do a lot more of. But yeah. All right. Mustache IT says that they're most interested in blue team training, which seems to be very popular right now. Let's see. What else do we got here? It's a good vibes Friday. I'm assuming the dollar signs were all about the money and how much it costs, but I could be wrong. Carrie's talking about Apple software. I've never messed with Apple. My pastor loves his Mac products. Yeah, for people that don't know computers very well, that are not like, you know, like maybe advanced or power users and above admin level, Macs tend to work for people that have never been initiated into the other systems. Unfortunately, if you come from a Windows and Linux background and someone hands you a Mac, you go, "What is this crazy device? I don't understand. Why did they put this over here instead of over there? Why is there no trash? There's no delete. It's moved to trash." To this day, if I right click on a Mac, I cannot stop myself. It is so ingrained in my person to look for delete that I first scan through all the options, then I go, "Oh, that's right. It's moved to trash." There it is. Click. I hate that. Everybody's talking about Mac stuff now. So Alpha Sierra, talking to Carrie. What is it teaching you? Oh, they're talking about him getting into culinary stuff. A lot of people, everybody's talking about Mac stuff. I did not expect that conversation to go that well, but good for you. That's really good. Haircut Fish asks me, how much do you know Docker and use Docker? I am flirting with the idea of trying to use it to create a box I could spin up for CTFs and shut down. Thoughts? That is a great idea. And I will give you a resource. Let's see if I can do it today. If you want to mess with Docker and kind of start out of the gate with something you can play with that already exists, it's called Websploit. Look up Websploit right there, websploit.org. I will drop that. Copy. If you want to build, again, going back to like last week and the week before, we talked about building quick cyber ranges. Let me throw this in chat. Paste. This is a really good one. And you can do this on just about any machine, right? So you download Collier Parrot, you set it up. Here's the minimum VM requirements, right? Which is not crazy at all. I've actually run this with no problems on really old hardware that had enough stuff, okay? That met the requirements. You can use it on VirtualBox, VMware Workstation, ESXi, KVM, Proxmox, you name it. This works, and it's all done through Docker, right? You grab this right there, you slap it in the terminal, and you rock, and then all this Docker stuff is running, and then here is everything you get. Beginner to intermediate and intermediate to advanced stuff, right? Look at this. Look at all this wondrousness that goes on in here. And oh, what is this, right? This is fire. This is a great lab environment to play around with. So I highly recommend it. I love it. They also have hacker training, right? Look at them doing stuff. Everybody's got hacker training now. I should start my own thing, right? Let's see here. But there you go, Websploit Labs. But yeah, that will be cool. Like learning Docker is a great skill and one that you should definitely get into. And I've done it with VMs and not Docker, but every now and then, if you go to something like the Hacker News and there's like critical exploit with POC and RCE, you see that going on, and it affects version blankety blank, right? Let's go back. An easy way to kind of get started with this is let's go to Hacker News. I've already got Hacker News up. Let's look and see if we can find an RCE that's up there. If not, no big deal. But ultimately, what you can do, oh, you know what? There was one, let me go back. There was one that I did see. Kibana releases urgent fix to critical vulnerability with enabling remote code execution. So prototype pollution in Kibana leads to arbitrary code execution via upload specifically crafted HTTP requests. The company said, we can click on said. This is Kibana kind of giving more. I wonder if there's like a write-up if there's POC. But a lot of times you can go to like Docker Hub. So Docker Hub. Click on that. So hub.docker.com. And from there, you can do a search for I'll think of something that I know, like off the top of my head, I'm going to say like Fortinet, right? And maybe there is like FortiOS or one of their devices, and it's the right version of it. You can see this was updated 7 years ago. So this would definitely be a client you could just spin up in Docker, and it has a vulnerability in it, almost guaranteed, right? Because this is 7 years old. So you just grab some of their software, or like, what's another one I can think of? One that I actually did. I have to actually go to my own YouTube because I can't remember. /@ Daniel Lowry. And because I used to do this for fun and film it because it was fun. Let's go to videos. So right here, Go server. I basically show you how to do this. Can you please remind me later? I used to do this kind of for fun. So Apache OFBiz, Ivanti. Yeah, I think that was what I was trying to remember, is like Ivanti. So what is the CVE 2024 7593? CVE 2024 7593. Was that what it was? 7593. There you go. Bam. And you can read about this, and it'll tell you what version. And so Avanti VP. Whoa, that is tiny. Avanti VTM, other than versions 22.2 R1 or 22.7 R2, allows remote authentication. So I can go look up Avanti VTM, and hopefully, hey, look, VTM, Pulse Secure. And you can even tell it what version you want when you download this, or you can go to their website. You know what I mean? Like, and that is a way you can quickly spin up a vulnerable machine for kind of like playing around with POC and RCEs that you find out on the webs. So that's cool. Hopefully that helps. And yeah. Okay, moving back to this topic. What else is going on? Lovely. Station X is a wide field. Okay. I just got to kind of catch up. Let me get back here. See what I've missed. We're getting there. CISA, or CISA, I guess. Okay, there we go. I found where I was at. All right, Carrie says Apple was expensive Linux box. Well, you get primo hardware with Apple. Like their processors are head and shoulders above everybody else just about with their performance. And then you got the trade-off of, well, not everything is built to run on those processors. You know, we're still trying to catch up with that, especially if you want to do virtualization. It can get really janky and weird. White Hat Sheepdog says, CISA has some great stuff for people in ICS. Yes, they do. Good point. Thank you. Carrie says, sorry about my comment. Then you're going to go into culinary arts. I thought it would be a way to get a career since everyone likes to eat. No, that's a great idea. Also, since it's hard to get into IT or cyber. He's not wrong. It can be. It can be. It's definitely it's a job to get an IT and cyber job. It just is what it is. Divine Dream Divine says, I admire the Pac-Man poster. Is that the one from Amazon or eBay? I think my kids got it for me for like Father's Day or something from Hobby Lobby. Wes says beer. I just happened to see that beer. Get you a tug, bro. Get you a pull. I'm doing my best Dimebag Darrell impression. He knows what's up with that. All right, White Hat Sheepdog. The VMs are great on TryHackMe, and everyone needs different tools and platforms to work on. Yes, having a bunch of different types of places to go and learn on is going to give you, maybe there's great web app stuff here, but there's better network pen test here, or there's better blue team SOC stuff over here. So having, and what I do is just kind of jump from one to the other as far as like, hey, I'll hang out and TryHackMe for a month or two. and now it's time to go over to hackthebox for a month or two. You know what I haven't been on is security, and that's what I'll kind of do. And that way I'm only ever spending many of those types of platforms are really good at with like monthly subscription, and then you can just unsubscribe and then resubscribe as necessary. So it's kind of like streaming services that way. Whereas then you have other platforms that are like you're paying for a specific course, and that could be either cheap or expensive depending on the course. Like I think of 0 Point Security with their certified red team operator. Great course, totally worth it, but it's like a few $100. And for good reason. Like there's a lot of infrastructure in the background. There's they're paying for licenses and cloud and all this other stuff. So they have to make money off of that. And that kind of goes into the idea of content creation and how these platforms are even available to you. It's not easy. There's a lot of work that goes into it. So if you do see higher prices, there might be some justification behind it. And then again, there might not be, right? Back in the day, where, at a place, I used to work at a place called IT Pro TV. I'm gonna put it that way. I used to work at IT Pro TV, which I loved. And Tim Broom and Don, specifically Tim, I heard this always come out of Tim's mouth, was that he never wanted to make price a barrier to your success, right? We just wanted to make it an easy button. X amount, I think with all the discounts at one time, it was like $22 a month or somewhere around there, $25 a month. And you had access to our entire course library. It wasn't just one course or some courses. It was, here you go, enjoy. And that was easy for people to just continue, or it was like, a few $100 for the entire year. And one and done kind of thing. I like that. I'm a big fan. I know that there are some things out there that are much more pricey, and for what you get, I'll say, like, for me, EC Council stuff wasn't worth it, right? Their prices are too expensive for what you get as far as the training and the content. Just is what that's my personal opinion. And that's just one place I could camp out on. People are starting to talk about OffSec being that way. The prices are going up with not necessarily enough juice to justify the squeeze of that orange. Speaking of orange. So I get it. Right? Outlaw 11 says, I enjoy training that has a clear path because focus is very lacking in a lot of people starting out learning cybersecurity. It's hard to see how envy fits together. Okay, I don't know. I don't understand the envy part, but I totally agree with you on a clear training path. Having that kind of set, especially for the beginner out there, having that clear, like, here is step one, install this. Right. And then when it comes to like my training, I know Wes does this as well. To me, if you're going to sit on a slide for 20 minutes and talk over it, and then we go, and now let's jump in the terminal, type in netstat-a, hit enter. See all this? That's what we just talked about. What is that? What is that? Right? So if you're going to make video content, by goodness, make it good, make it engaging, make it fun. I mean, it's not rocket scientists. Just get your hands on the keyboard, show the thing like we're doing here, right? If I wanted to show you something, I'm like, what we're going to learn today is some Linux commands. This is the first thing I would do. Welcome to the class, everyone. Now, one of the first things you're going to need to do is learn how to list the files in your Linux machine. And of course, I wouldn't even be using that stodgy voice. I'm doing it because I'm being facetious. In real life land, I'd be like, cool, so we need to learn some Linux because Linux is fire. We're going to have a good time. You are going to use Linux if you are into cybersecurity. It is what it is. I can't change the fact, but guess what? Once you get in, you are going to love it because it is fun. And just saying, it does make you feel like elite hacker, even just by doing some simple commands, because you're at the terminal and you're engaged with your actual machine. So when I do an ls to list files, right? Oh, cool. Okay. Some of these are blue. I've got a green, black. What does all this stuff mean? Well, it doesn't really get really descriptive, but there's a way to make that happen. If I do an ls-a, this is going to show me all the files. And if I add an L, this is going to give us a whole lot more information. We'll talk about what that is as soon as it comes up. So bam, here it is. You see a lot more information now, right? We're getting all sorts of stuff that's going on here. And you'll notice that some of these files start with a dot. That lets you know that they're just hidden. Any file that starts with a period is a hidden file in the Linux directory. So if you want to hide something, you can make a file and it starts with a period and it won't show up when someone does a simple ls. So ls is the list of files, ls-a to find all those hidden files, and do an L for this long listing. This is what this is, right? This is starting to make more sense, hopefully, to you, right? We can see what the permissions are over here. We can see who the user that owns this, what group owns this, and how large this file is. So this bash.logout is 220 bytes, I believe. When the last time it was modified, which was November 21st at 1643. This is how your training should be done. We are walking through this. If you're going to throw a slide up with a picture of this and then kind of like point to that, point to that, point to that. Why? It's right here. I don't need a slide to do this. You can just type it in and show it. And then if it doesn't do right, and go, oh yeah, that didn't work. Oh, that's why. Here's why that didn't work. I can explain it to you. It becomes more engaging. So I really try to engage you by showing and doing, and I don't care if I get it wrong. A lot of times that becomes even better content and better training because, oh, guess what? Not everything works correctly the first time. People make mistakes. What do I do when I make that mistake? Maybe I didn't realize I made a mistake and I think that I did it right and now I'm not getting the right. How do I troubleshoot my way through that? That's just as important as what LS does, right? To me, that's what makes really good training. Unfortunately, I don't really see a lot of that. I know who does it. I know who did it, right? Is what it is. I'm ranting. I'm going crazy. Oh man, this is a fun day. Let's get back to it. Let's see here. So yes, Outlaw 11, to your point, clear path to focus on, and then make that stuff engaging. Don't just vomit information out for people to listen. Anybody can read. Like, I feel like if you're just going to give me slides, and yeah, some of them can be funny, but if you're just going to, if my training is just slides that we camp out on for 10, 15, 20 minutes, I'm sorry. Even if it's really good information, I'm going to yawn at that. This is my personal opinion about training. I take training just as much as you do. Trust me. I have to learn this stuff. And then when I learn it, I go, well, now that I know this, I can make training. I could do this. I know what this is now. And now I can make it better for now. Getting emails. I can make it better for people, at least in my estimation, hopefully. So it wasn't, we used to say, let's make the training we wish we'd have had. Right? Because I do not enjoy someone monotonally droning over a PowerPoint slide. I think that's why Pluralsight kind of struggles a lot because that's basically their content. And good for them. Make them. I got no beef with them. That's not my kind of training. What about you guys? What do you think? Videos are superior, Outlaw 11 says, to reading walls of text. I totally agree. There are times when that is a necessary evil, but if you can get away from it, you absolutely should. That's a great point. I prefer VMs on try hack me. I dislike hack the box using shared VMs unless you're on a subscription. That's a good point to bring out, talking about training and platforms and ranges. Do you like having your own instance of a VM, or is sharing an instance okay with you? A lot of times it's going to break down as far as price goes, right? What can they offer? What did they offer? And some people like one over the other. It's an interesting topic of conversation. I would fall in that camp. Like, that would push me to pay I think Hack the Box's machines are better at least in my experience, than try hack me's. So I would pay for the access to single machines. Although, is it inconvenient to get kicked out of a box because it's shared VM? Yeah, it is. But it sure as heck reinforces all those steps you had to do to get in there, doesn't it? Because you got to redo them. It's not just one and done. So there's pros and cons to that. But yes, I can see that being a very annoying aspect of Try Hack Me. All right, let's see what else we got here. Like to have both. Yeah, I mean, don't get me wrong. Some good text. I always like to throw like my notes into. That's what we used to do, is throw our notes. Here's what I had to think of. Let me shut off my sound because that is getting annoying. There we go. So yeah, it might not make a ton of sense to you, but at least there's something there as far as text goes. Copy paste, any kind of commands that I would run or things like that, I would make that as available as a resource. Or if I used a website for information or reference, I would throw those in there as well. Let's see here. Divine Dream asked me, is the monster orange or gold? It is orange today. I missed the gold ones. I haven't seen a gold one in a long time, but it was a good one. Haircut Fist says, I also hate when the module is a giant wall of text. Let's see. Excuse me on that one. I'm getting a little froggy. We got 9 minutes to go. Man, this has been, I didn't think it was going to get me this pumped to talk about training, honestly, but I am passionate about it. Let's see here. I wonder if that's what's been getting in your way. Your area doesn't have many. Oh, talking to Carrie. Sorry. Cyberpenguin, my thoughts exactly on Hack the Box questions. There are tons of potential for their stuff. Hopefully they'll improve that in the future. Absolutely. I totally agree. Hack the Box sounds like a fast food joint. Yes, it does. Hack in the Box. There used to be a site. It might still be around called Hack in the Box, if I'm not mistaken. Let's look that up. Does that still exist? Let's see here. Hack in the Box. Hack in the Box. I've got Hack the Box, Academy, Hack the Box. Google's probably just like, hey, didn't you mean, did it give me that? No, I'm on DuckDuckGo. Let's go to Google.com. Hack in the Box, because I used to get it like confused. No, search only for Hack in the Box. There it is. hackinthebox.org. Keeping knowledge free for over a decade. Booyah. Look at that. Still cranking. Interesting. Anyway, squirrel. Squirrel. That's for you, Wes. Squirrel. I love when I get distracted. There you go. Hack in the Box, or hitb.org. hitb.org. Let's see here. FedEx says, so what techniques you utilize to keep yourself in task with so much flow of new information and stuff? Any app to help you be more productive? AI automation? No, I don't use any AI automation or anything like that. Basically, just write it down and then move it to like a Notion board. Yeah, that's about how it goes. Just bring up Notion. I have a Notion page called To Do. I've got one called like social and content creation ideas. So for stuff to do here, learning resources, got one for that kind of stuff. So when I start seeing stuff, I just kind of pop it in there and I go, okay, what am I going to do? And then in To Do, I'll just say, hey, this week I'm doing this, I'm doing that. And I check them off as I get them done. So that's the extent of it, brother. Fairly straightforward. Thank you for being a friend. Oh, yes. Always. Smack the Mac. Windows is just what we used to call spyware. I hit the like button a trillion million times. Thank you, Carrie. We appreciate you on that. Oh, yeah. If you're getting value out of this, don't forget to hit that like and subscribe button and the notification bell. I feel like a real YouTuber when I say that stuff. FedEx says, what Ubuntu machine are you running there? And is that your bare metal or VM? So this is a bare metal Linux Mint. This is actually on hardware. It's on metal. It's sitting right over here. You can't see it. and I am, remote desktoped into it. And that's how I do this. And that's how you can see all these different screens. And then what I'll do is I'll fire up virtual machines and I'll enable RDP on those. And so that acts as my VM server. Now I got that new B-Link thing that I am crafting into to replace this, because this is a little bit older. Not that it gives me one little problem, which is I think that it's on old Apple hardware, right? And I think that it doesn't like the network drivers there. And every now and then I lose my connection, like randomly. So it could be timeouts, could be something like that. I'm not 100% sure, but it kind of leaves me high and dry a lot of times and isn't as solid as I'd like it to be. So I'm going to migrate over to my new server, working on that project of kind of update you on that, of creating my own range building tool. Man, so VMware workstations, their tools for running from the command line are total garbage. Like it was so rough. It was so rough. This is as far as I've got. I'm doing some research right now. And then of course, how do I install and configure make it easy? Like I got a Linux machine. Maybe I'm install Parrot OS. How do I answer all the questions that go into like what region, what keyboard are you using? What time zone are you in? What's the first username? What's their password? What's all this? And there's these things called, I got KeyPass stuck in my house. Not KeyPass. It's pre-seed files that you can create, and you got to serve them up or bake them into the ISO. It's a little more complex than I gave it credit for. So Ludus is still a really good option at this point in time. And I'm understanding now why they did a lot of the things they did, looking at things like Packer, and Vagrant and Ansible for trying to make this an easier lift, but it's just a lot of study on my end of the thing. And I have very little time to make that happen. So this is going to be a long-term project. I've moved away from VMware. I've decided for what I'm doing, I'm going to go with VirtualBox. VirtualBox seems to be a little more friendly, still on the struggle bus a little bit, still there. But it is definitely, I've kicked the can down the road a whole lot farther with VirtualBox than I did with VMware Workstation. So yeah, it's imperative that I have the ability to work from the command line so I can script these things out and make them do the things I want them to do. It's a work in progress, but that's where I am. There's your weekend update. I might actually go a little long today because this has been a really good topic of conversation. I'm enjoying everything you guys are talking about. So let's see here. Let's get back to Chicka Chukka Chukka. Where was that? I hate my... Omen asked me what camera I'm using. This is Sony a6400. But it's not just the camera. The lens is also what matters, which is a Sigma Prime 1.4 50 millimeter. 50 like 6 or 3 or something. It's a 50-ish millimeter. And that is what is most important. The lens, the glass, as it were. Let's see here. Posted this earlier before the stream started. Not sure if you saw it. Kind of mustache. What'd you post? Okay, that was Mustache IT. I guess I didn't see it. Let's see here. Omen says, I'm hired as a cloud security engineer intern, and current manager is unhappy with his SOC team and doesn't want breach to happen. That is the goal of the SOC team. Currently, I have security reader in the AD. Okay, very cool. What else we got going on? Omen's, again, Omen, getting chatty today. I'm glad. That's a good thing. How can I improve their security, and how can I suggest some policies based on 15 to 20 policies I need to audit? It's going to depend on your systems, brother. It's going to depend on, or sister. I don't know. Omen could be, that's very non-defining, as it were. Think about what you got going on. What cloud are you using? What tools are you using? And then start looking at best practices, hardening, uh, it's all going to be a one size fits one solution for you. That's why you typically, if you're out of your depths, you call in consultants that have the skills and capabilities to come in and go, hey, here's what's up. Here's what I would suggest based on what I've seen from your environment. That's how that would go. So all you can do at this point is start learning every system that you have, start looking at security issues surrounding those systems and how they work together, and become that expert so that they don't have to farm out to somebody else. And I don't know what those things are because I don't know your environment, right? So yeah, but you do. And that's the best advice I can give you is learn those systems like the back of your hand, learn the security issues around those systems like the back of your hand, learn how you can put in security controls to prevent, detect, and mitigate like the back of your hand. Write up what you think you can do, build some labs at home to mess around with it, see what you can build and get experience with, and then take it to your manager. Look at that. It's 11 o'clock. Like I said, we're going long today. We're going long. I'm calling an audible because I'm not done talking. Bearded IT Dad is here. What's up, Dakota? Let's see here. I think they're M5 on the Apple chips now. Yeah, are they? Is that what the next one's coming out is? M5? Yeah, because I know M4s are out. I almost bought an M4 Mac Mini before I bought the B-Link, but you know, you go with what you go with. Let's see here. I see the pain is asking whether or not I answered their question. I have not. I don't remember answering any cloud question for the pain. So make sure to @ my name so I see it. Man, okay, I'm just going to start hitting my own name. What camera I use, we got that one. Wayne's Real World says it sounds like my training. White Hat Sheepdog, TryHackMe is offering their new certification for free if you have CISA Plus, and another specific cert if acquired prior to March 1st might be worth checking out. That's absolutely true. That's a good, thank you for shouting that out. Omen says, yeah, I remember starting my cyber career. I have bought a yearly subscription at IT Pro TV. Yep. Let's see. Carrie says, I do like using Linux, and Linux is free, open source instead of having Windows. Amen to that, bro. Ain't nothing wrong with that at all. I much prefer Linux over all. Tech Ricky says, you didn't type neofetch and take a screenshot to flex on the internet. You didn't even Linux. Oh, that's funny. Oh man, this is back when I was, oh man, I'm way behind. Okay, I'm gonna have to just start catching up here. Bearded IT Dad, have you ever talked about burnout? Probably. It's a real deal, that's for sure. Need another monster. We're only about halfway through this one. I got to get to reading. Let's see. Daniel Lowry, I'm not able to understand how to improve security on cloud while my company has already all the security features enabled and they are using Microsoft. So what? Ultimately, a lot of cloud security comes down to misconfiguration, right? And defaults. Are defaults for the cloud system that you are using, are they too open? Are they too permissive? What do they give access to the average everyday Joe and Jane out there? Your job is to hunt those things down and learn about them. Like if you're using Amazon, for instance. So back in the day, S3 buckets, by default, everybody and their bro could see what was in an S3 bucket. You had to know to go in there and make that private. You had to create security groups that only allowed X, Y, and Z persons to be able to access those S3 buckets or whatever, right? How are your Lambda functions looking, right? This is a deep, deep rabbit hole that's going to be very specific to what services and what platforms you're using. But ultimately, the overarching problem with cloud is that people are just kind of spinning stuff up and getting it to work and going, done is better than perfect. And there's going to be misconfigurations within that. Oh, these permissions were way too open and somebody found an S3 bucket with API keys in it. Whoopsie, that was a mistake. Hey, guess what? We leaked that. We hard-coded creds and blah, blah, blah. And it's that source code is available through a GitHub. You know what I mean? It's like you're using all these different services. You have to be looking through them and making sure that you are doing good security practices. So the first thing you got to do is learn what good security practices are for the platforms that you're using. What is the best way to make cloud storage available? How do I set permissions properly on an S3 bucket? How do I properly work with EC2 instances? How do I properly secure Lambda functions? Like that's the questions you need to be asking yourself if you're using that, and then go to the internet, start doing some Google foo, and read about that, learn about that, and then look at your environment and go, are we doing that? How is our Kubernetes pods looking? Are we doing any sidecar stuff? Is that available? Like, those are the things you need to learn. And so if you're using Kubernetes to orchestrate and control your cloud, then start looking into Kubernetes security. What are the security problems with Kubernetes? And then what are the fixes and mitigations for that? Detections for that? How do I build good detections? And now your SOC team will be getting alerts, better alerts, right? Maybe you already have something in place, but it's just not, it could be better, right? You always go back to the drawing board and stuff and take a look and go, is this the best way to do this? Or did we just spin this up as kind of like a stopgap and then forget about it? We can always be improving and honing our alerting and detection systems so that they do a better job. But again, that is going to be very specific to what it is you're using, the platforms and software and everything that's involved. So it's a hard thing for me to go, here's exactly what you should go do. Hopefully that makes sense. I'm not trying to blow you off at all. I'm just telling you that it's a very subjective question and it's difficult to answer from this end of the camera. Luke J talking about Proxmox, Cyber International Communities. Thank you. Daniel, thank you. Oh, Divine Dream had to bounce. Awesome. All right. Bearded IT Dad asking about burnout. So for me, burnout for learning doesn't really happen. Zach once time told me, he's like, you're going to totally get bored with blah, blah, blah. I'm like, I just don't. I don't get bored with it. It's always exciting to me. It's always fun. I literally just gave you guys like a 2-minute lesson on how to use LS. And it was fun. I enjoyed it. I've used LS a bazillion times and I loved it. It is fun for me. I love learning about it. I love learning because there's always like crazy little nuance you can go down the rabbit hole with. And you learn something new. You just have to like, for me, again, no, don't get me wrong. If I was nose to the grindstone every day, things not going my way, yeah, I'm going to get burned out, but I just don't typically feel that. I understand, but I do get burnt out on like when I'm tasked to do something that's not in my wheelhouse. Can I do it? Yes, but do I want to do it? Probably not. Right? I think everybody feels that way though. And if it takes up a bunch of time, then you're like, I just need a break. I need a break. But I'm just one of those people, man. Once I get focused in on something, my brain won't let me stop. And I just don't feel that burnout. I'm always constantly learning. It's fun for me. It's always fun. Hopefully that's something that you guys can learn to, if you're feeling burnout. Here's how you get burnout, honestly. Burnout comes from smacking yourself over the head. Bing, 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 bing. You're doing the same thing over and over again, very repetitively. It's the same thing. I feel like that's where burnout really gets its fire, right? That's the coal on the burnout fire, is repetition of mundane things. So the more you continue doing those things that is not enjoyable for you, or maybe it started as enjoyable, and the more you do it, you're like, this is just always a drudgery. I don't like it anymore. That's when burnout occurs. And to that extent, yes, I have felt that. So hopefully you continue to find new and exciting ways to make it more interesting. Figure out a project. Okay, this isn't really working for me. Reading a man page isn't a lot of fun, or whatever. Create projects, shift focus, right? Go, you know what? I'm going to move this over here right now because this is making me very, not fun. And I'm not having fun with it right now. I had fun with it, but right now I'm not. I'm going to focus on something else real quick. I feel like doing that shell game with stuff is going to keep you from having a bad time with burnout. The more you focus on one thing for too long, that's really where burnout really starts and is fed. Wayne's Real World lets me know that Taekwon Gong asks, how do you know if you should be a pen tester? I mean, I love the subjective questions today. Go do a bunch of Hack the Box boxes. And not only that, don't just do that, right? Or I'll make it even easier. Go here. Let's get in here. Like I said, we'll go a little long today. We'll get another 20 minutes and we'll make this an hour and a half show. I used to love this place, and I hate that OffSec acquired it. And it's probably in the proving grounds. That's where now, but vulnhub.com used to be a great place to go. And you can see the last time something was submitted was in 2022. But you can download these VMs, spin them up in your virtual environment, grab one of these things, try to work your way through them, right? Or, you know what? Let's make it even easier. So again, now, hold on. Now it's starting to really, what kind of pen tester do you want to be? Right? That's not as simple as, I want to be a pen tester. Okay, do you want to be a web app pen tester? You want to be a network pen tester? You want to move into red teaming? Are you more interested in that kind of stuff? Wireless? What's your real stock and trade? You obviously have to learn a little something about just about everything, but I'm starting to lose my, I don't know if we'll make it 20 minutes. But that said, figure out what you like. Go learn a little something about everything. I do think VulnHub is a great way to do that because they've got a little bit of everything. Try Hack Me is another great place to go. Hack the Box. You've heard us kind of talking about that, but don't just do the box. Here's if you really want to know whether or not you want to be a pen tester, do it like you would as if you were a pen tester. Hey, this is going to be a great experience for you if you do find that this is the life for you and you can't wait to start pen testing as a daily. But scope the engagement, pretend you have a client, scope the engagement, statement of work, right? ROEs, SOW, all the fun things, master service agreements, SLAs. Try to come up with those documents and lean on Google and ChatGPT and things like that to help you do that, but do it. Fill it out as if it were that. Spend a few, and you're going to spend a couple of days doing that. Once you have that down, then start your engagement. Give yourself a time frame. Okay, I'm going to only spend 2 to 3 days or whatever. That's the time. That's the engagement. And make sure that you are reporting as you go, taking screenshots, writing a narrative, like the whole thing of everything you need to be doing to create that final report. Then create your final report, have it, go through it, make sure that you once it's done, you read through it, review it, and ask somebody that you know to look over it and see if it makes sense to them. Obviously, they'll have to have some skills. Hopefully, you have some friends or you can reach out to people to kind of take a look at it to say, hey, was there anything weird that you couldn't follow? Did it make sense? Blah, 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 blah. Do a tech review. And then if you liked that process, maybe you want to be a pen tester. I think that would be a good litmus test to whether or not that would be true. A ballpoint pen tester. Nice. Oh man, there goes Dakota. He had to bounce. Yeah, it's getting a little long. That's cool. I get it. If anybody has to go, I totes get it. Do what you got to do. Anything else? Takes more than 4 hours to respond to those alerts. Oh, we're getting Omen's hit me up again. Let me see if I miss something. Okay, there we go. One more question is, current team is capable to generate alerts, but they are not able to respond to those alerts. They need more time to investigate what's going on, and it takes more than 4 hours to respond to those alerts and investigating on those alerts. They just need more people then. I mean, I'm not saying you couldn't improve on your response time, but it seems like your team is overworked. But I was on with Hayden. Hayden now is probably rocking his class, but was talking with Hayden Covington yesterday, and his webcast that we did yesterday on Anti-Siphon was, what are the realities of SOC work? And his answer was, it's a lot of work. I'm starting to lose my voice. And that wasn't just him. He had 2 other SOC analysts on the cast with him. And they were like, yep, you're always busy. You just have to spend the time looking at what you, and you're not going to get to every alert, and you're not going to get to everything. So you just have to, and you're not going to figure out everything. And you're just going to do the best you can with what you got, because that's all you can do. And if you wanted to, that we talk about burnout, Dakota brought up burnout. Remember we talked about bang, 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 bang. I feel like that's why a lot of people do get burnout once they get in the jobs, is they don't realize it's lather, rinse, repeat. That's the job. You're going to do what you did yesterday, today. You're going to do that again tomorrow, and you're going to do that again the next day. You're going to do that again the next day. You're going to do that again the next day. And rarely does it get interesting by means of difference. Like, oh, it's different today. This wasn't, this is a little more, oh, yeah, okay, you got me. Got my attention here, right? It's just like, okay, do this. Step 2, do that. Step 3, do that. That is the job. Just welcome to IT. Welcome to cybersecurity. You're going to get really good at it because you do it a lot, but that is the reality of it for very many people, generally speaking, of course. Right. Justin Brown says, find comfort in the routine. Really, is it that repeating thing? Yes, it is. It is that repeating thing for a lot. You do a lot of the same things over and over again. And every now and then you go, hey, we need to implement a new technology. We need to implement new stuff. We're going to go back to the drawing board on blank. And then things get a little different. And you're like, oh, this is cool. This is fun. We're doing new stuff. And then it just becomes like, that's routine again. That's just a job. But that's like a lot of jobs. That's not just IT and cyber. That's jobs. If you can find something that has a lot of variance and change and is constantly dipping into new ideas and concepts and implementing new strategies and stuff, that could be super fun. And that would be what you want to look for. And maybe there's a company out there that does that, and that's what you want. But poll the chat, that people that do this, ask them how much of their day is repetitive, right? You just kind of walk through. That is what is up. Cyber is not always sexy, says Unity. For me, lots of analysis and spreadsheets, at least in my role. I do love it though, but might not be fun for everyone else. Repetitive, like Daniel said. Yeah. That's jobs. Yep. Just depends on where you work and what your role is. Exactly. And I probably why a lot of people go and work for a company for a year and then move to a different company. They're just looking for a change. And they have now experience. They can make a little more money. And that's kind of, the progression of a career. And then you see a lot of people that spend, 5 to maybe 10 years in that analyst engineering role, support where your hands on keyboards kind of stuff, and then move into management because they're looking for something different. They think I've got better ideas on how to take care of this. My management's not doing it. So they've proven themselves. And that's, you see that progression. Then maybe they're like, I'm going to start my own company 5 years later. And then they're like, oh, I have an MSSP. And that tends to be kind of the progression. Justin Brown says, log in, load BTOP, and chill. Aren't most jobs repetitive though? Yes, they are. A lot of them are. Not every one of them, right? Not every one of them is different. Honestly, it's one of the things I like about my job is I get to do a lot of different stuff, right? I get to talk with a lot of different people and hear a lot of different opinions and experiences. And maybe cyber is more of a hobby for you than it is a job. That could be it, right? Maybe it's just fun to go play on Try Hack Me and do hackthebox stuff and learn about new cyber techniques. And that's good enough. Go to a con and have fun. It's totally fine. There's nowhere in anything written down says you have to do cybersecurity. If you're really passionate about it and you like it and you want to give it a try for a job, do it. We're more than happy to have you. I'm not trying to dissuade you from taking it on. Just make sure that you understand that it is a job. And some people find that they really enjoy it. Maybe you're one of those people that the repetition behind some of the things is totally fine because of those points when you don't have to do that. When you do get to do like, oh, this is really interesting and fun. And that's enough to keep you going, then enjoy it. Maybe you enjoy the repetition. You never know. Excuse me. I'm, again, losing my voice. Here it goes. All right. I feel like we're winding down now. This is, but it's been a good talk. I really enjoy everybody's answers. I had some other questions. We talked about what learning platforms we liked and why we liked them, what we thought good training looked like. This has been really fun for me. I can't wait to go back and read everybody's comments because we had a good show today. We had a lot of people here today. Another question is a good one just to think about. You don't have to necessarily answer about like what don't you like. I think we actually did inadvertently hit that with like, hey, walls of text is not awesome. Hey, I don't like when you give me questions I can't answer, or you're sitting on slides for 20 minutes and never doing anything. Those are my personal dislikes. Another good one to think about is what do you really want to learn? I think we've kind of inadvertently touched on that topic as well through people like Omen. Omen, you obviously are passionate about that SOC analyst life. And I think that if you really put your hand to the plow and get to work, and do some learning, that passion is going to drive you to be a very effective team member to help drive down how long it takes to triage and mitigate alerts that come through. So get to work on it, learn those platforms, learn how they work, learn those mitigation strategies, learn those detection strategies. Like you said, your team is good at creating detections. That's awesome. It's just taking them a while. Look for inefficiencies in, like, do we not have a good process for when the alert comes in to completing a ticket? Like, what happens in between there? Why is it taking so long? You have to start analyzing and looking at all those tickets and looking at what is written in those tickets and go, oh, I see some repetitiveness here. Maybe we can automate this. Let me write a script. Let me get to work on that. That could be it. You know what I mean? That could be a super user do. There's current role is network admin, Azure admin, server admin, network engineer, AD admin. Yep. That's how it goes. I was before Azure and cloud a lot, but I did that too. I was network admin, server admin, AD admin, WSUS, doing updates. I did endpoint detection admin, checking. There's part of my day, I'd get back from lunch and I would go, all right, let me bring up the console here and see what's not checking in. Let's contact some people. Let's see if we can make it check in. And if I can, I guess I got some phone calls to make and go, hey, I've noticed that your endpoint agent is not checking in with our server. When's the last time you rebooted? Maybe we can get this thing working and triage that because I wanted no red. I dislike horrible management. Oh man, we're gonna have to agree on that, Tech Ricky. That is a true statement. There we go. Okay, well, this has been fun. I've really enjoyed this conversation, as you can tell, because we went long on it. Thank you so much, everyone, for joining me today. I don't want to push it too hard. Gotta save the golden pipes, right? Gotta save them. Gotta keep them going. We'll be back next week with more CyberCast IRL. Like I said, if you found some value in this episode, do me the immense favor of hitting the like and subscribe button. Share it with your friends. Let them know, hey, we want you. We want you to be a part of this community and have some fun. And we'd love to see you here. That said, I'm going to call it a day. Thanks again. And until next time, keep hacking.